So today we are going to start with the process that is replication, and it's very important when we talk about the central dogma of life. We studied in central dogma of life that DNA to DNA is replication, DNA to RNA is transcription, okay, and RNA to protein is translation. So replication, we can say that it's a process of formation of DNA copies from parent DNA. It is known as replication. Watson and Crick proposed that DNA replication is semi-conservative. Okay. Now, what does that mean? We will study later. So, Watson and Crick proposed that the DNA replication is semi-conservative. Now, two strands of DNA are separate. Okay. Each acts as a template for the synthesis of new strand. Each new strand or new DNA molecule having one parental strand and one newly synthesized strand. This I will explain you like, see, we know that both the strands of DNA, when we talk about, okay, suppose this is the A strand and this is the B strand. So both the strands of DNA are anti-parallel with each other. That is how one will have the polarity 3' to 5', and other will have from 3' to 5' from here to here. Okay. Now we know that this is, suppose this is 3' to 5'. Okay, this is 3' to 5'. So this will be 3' to 5'. Okay. Now each strand will act as a template. Template means it will act as a reference for the synthesis of the new strand. So what will happen? It will be like, suppose this is the parental DNA. Okay, this is the parental DNA. Now the parental DNA will separate itself into two, that is this and this, and now new strand will be formed. Okay, new strand will be formed. New strand will be formed, which will be this one. So the new DNA which is formed will have a parental DNA and a new DNA. Okay, so it is semi-conservative mode of replication. If it would be conservative mode of replication, then the parental DNA will only be there, and if it would be non-conservative, then new DNA would have formed. But here what we see is that the DNA which will be formed from the parent or the new offspring will have some portion of the parent DNA which will act as a template for the synthesis of the new strand. So it will have an old strand and a new strand. Okay, you can see here in the diagram that this is the parental DNA, and here the red one is the parental DNA which is acting as a template, and the green one is the new DNA which is formed. So DNA replication has a semi-conservative mode of replication, and this was experimentally proved by Matthew Meselson and Franklin Stahl by doing an experiment. Okay, the aim of this experiment was to prove that the DNA replication is having a semi-conservative mode of replication. So first what they did this experiment on the bacterium E. coli, and they growed E. coli in a NH4Cl medium which contained the 15 heavy nitrogen, and then they transferred that E. coli in a medium which contained the normal nitrogen. Okay, now the DNA which was present in the first generation, or when the bacteria was growing on this, was having the heavy DNA. Okay, now when the E. coli were again returned to the normal medium, they were having an hybrid DNA, that is one old strand and one new strand. And finally when they were grown to other other generations, okay, they had totally new DNA and semi-conservative DNA. That means the mixing of the two DNA. So you can see here, this is the heavy band which is given in the red part, this is the hybrid, and this is the light and the hybrid band. Okay, so from this it was proved that the mode of replication in the mode of replication is nothing but semi-conservative mode of replication. So how they did this experiment? They grew E. coli in a medium containing heavy isotope of nitrogen, that is 15N, okay, and for many generation. Then they did a cesium chloride density gradient centrifugation. DNA was present at the lower level and one heavy band was obtained. You can see here what they did. They growed this E. coli on heavy isotope, that is heavy nitrogen, that is 15N heavy isotope of nitrogen. Then they did the cesium chloride density gradient centrifugation, and DNA was present at the lower level, that is the heavy DNA. So this was the DNA, the red portion which is seen. Now next what they did, they growed this E. coli in the normal nitrogen NH4Cl medium. Okay, then after 20 minutes they again did the cesium chloride density gradient centrifugation, and they found what? They found a band which was having a density lighter than this heavy DNA. Okay, so they obtained a hybrid. So one was the old DNA strand and other was the new DNA strand. The red one is the old DNA strand here, and the other one was the new DNA strand. Okay, again what they did this, they growed the bacteria again for 40 minutes, and again they obtained what? They obtained the density, they did the density gradient centrifugation, that is cesium chloride density gradient centrifugation, and they found that they obtained a light DNA and a hybrid DNA. This would have occurred in this way, like I will explain you. See, this was the parental strand, this was the parental strand. Now this divided into two when second density gradient centrifugation was done, and what was obtained? It was obtained as hybrid DNA. Okay, so this was the hybrid DNA which was seen in the tube, okay, centrifugation tube. Now again this will separate. Okay, so we'll have what? This will separate and we'll have one green, the other green, and two other will be the red one which are coming from here. Two other will be the red one which are coming from here. Okay, so we'll have 4 strands which will be acting as template. Now the new DNA will be formed which is having the light which is having the normal nitrogen. Okay, so the new strands form will be like this. This is a new strand, this is the new strand, this is the new strand, and this is the new strand. So what we obtained? We obtained 2 light DNA and 2 hybrid DNA. So this result is possible only when the replication is taking place with the help of semi-conservative mode of DNA replication. That means it is a mixture of a new strand and the old strand, and the parental DNA is only acting as a template strand, that is the reference strand which will help in the synthesis of the progeny DNA. So this was proved by Matthew Michelson and Franklin Stahl that the experimentally that mode of DNA replication is semi-conservative. Here what you have to remember? You have to remember the bacteria which is used, E. coli, the medium NH4Cl, the centrifugation, that is the cesium chloride density gradient centrifugation, and the mode of replication that takes place. And this is a very important experiment. Now when we talk about replication, first we will talk about the machinery and various enzymes which are there in the replication. So enzymes are DNA dependent DNA polymerases, because the DNA strand will act as a template. So the DNA polymerase is something which will form the other strand. Okay, so we'll say that it is DNA dependent DNA polymerase. It will depend on the template DNA or the DNA strand for the extending the other strand. Now second point is it uses a DNA template to catalyze the polymerization of deoxyribonucleotides. Okay, deoxynucleotide triphosphatase are used for addition purpose, and they will do two purpose. They will act as a substrate and they will provide energy for polymerization. Okay, so when the DNA polymerase is adding deoxyribonucleotides, it will be added in the form of deoxyribonucleotide triphosphatases, and this will act as a substrate. That is, we are getting, for the product formation we are getting the substrate, that is for the polymerization reaction, and also it will provide energy because it is having what? It is having triple phosphate bond, and we already know that this triphosphate is energy rich, and every time the polymerization will take place, this will be dissociated and energy will be produced, and this will help in the addition of the deoxyribonucleotides. Other enzymes which are required are helicase, okay, which will separate the two strands, primase, that is which will do the synthesis of the primer. Okay, the primer is the initial or small RNA strand which is required for the polymerase to extend the strand. So primase will synthesize the primer, and the next one is the topoisomerase. This will release the tension which is produced due to the separation of the SSB protein, that is the stability SSB proteins. Okay, SSB proteins are there which will provide the stability to the DNA. Okay, so the topoisomerase will release the tension which will be produced when we separate this. Okay, and it will provide what? It will provide the stability to the single strand of the DNA, SSB proteins. Okay, so topoisomerase will release the tension and SSB proteins will help to stabilize the single strand DNA. Okay, so these are SSB proteins are also known as single stranded binding proteins. So when the DNA gets separated from each other, see, this is the DNA. Now when it will get separated from each other like this, so these SSB proteins will bind and they will provide the stability, and they are called single stranded binding proteins. Okay, and for long DNA cannot separate its entire length. Okay, when we talk about DNA, it's having a very large length as compared to the nucleus, as we saw in the packaging of DNA. So for long DNA cannot separate the entire length, so replication will occur with a small opening of DNA helix, and it is called replication fork. It will be in the formation of replication fork. So a small portion will get replicated, then other replication fork will be formed, and it will be like this. So the enzyme required for the replication are DNA dependent DNA polymerase. Okay, also we require the deoxyribonucleotides, that is the deoxyribonucleotide triphosphatases, which will act as a substrate, and it will also provide energy for polymerization. Other enzymes will be helicase, which will be required to separate the strands, primase, which will help in the synthesis of primer, topoisomerase, which will relieve the tension due to separation, and SSB protein, that is the single stranded binding proteins, which will help to stabilize the single strand DNA. Okay, now how this replication takes place, we will study this. Now the polymerization will take place in the direction that is 5' to 3' direction. You have to remember this, that the polymerization will be there only in one direction, that is 5' to 3' direction. That means DNA polymerase will only act in one direction, that is 5' to 3' direction. In one strand, that is 3' to 5', replication will continue, but in the other strand, that is a 5' to 3', it will be in a discontinuous way. Now this discontinuous way will form Okazaki fragments, and these Okazaki fragments are joined by DNA ligase. Now what are these Okazaki fragments? These fragments were identified by the scientist Okazaki, so the name came that these are the Okazaki fragments and they will be joined by DNA ligase. So we studied that a replication fork will be formed. Okay, so this is the 3' to 5', and this is 5' to 3'. Now the direction of the DNA polymerase is only 5' to 3'. So here the strand will be formed very easily, but in the other strand, in this strand, the strand will not form easily. So it will be synthesized what? It will be synthesized in form of fragments that are called Okazaki fragments, because it is in the wrong direction, that is in a discontinuous way. So Okazaki fragments will be formed, and then these fragments will be joined with the help of DNA ligase. Okay, now replication origin at particular region is called replication, origin of replication. Okay, now this, as we know that the whole DNA will not become single stranded to do the process, it will be in intervals. So from where the origin of replication will start in the DNA is called origin of replication. In eukaryotes, replication takes place at the S phase, that is the synthesis phase of the cell cycle, and failure in cell division after DNA replication results in polyploidy. And if the cell division does not takes place, okay, then it will result in polyploidy, as we have studied in 5th chapter in the chromosomal disorders. Okay, so here you can see in this diagram that this is the replication fork. Okay, and this strand is synthesized in a continuous way, that is this continuous synthesis of the replication. Okay, continuous synthesis of the strand, and in here, because of the polarity of the enzyme, that is from 5' to 3' direction, this other strand will be formed in a discontinuous way, and that will be in the form of small fragments, and then these fragments will be joined to form the DNA, and these fragments will be joined by an enzyme which is DNA ligase. So you have to remember all the enzymes which are important for the replication process. So enzymes which were required for the replication were, first of all, a very important enzyme, that is the DNA dependent DNA polymerase. Then we had helicase, then primase, topoisomerase, SSP proteins. Okay, then we needed deoxyribonucleotide triphosphatases, which acted as a substrate and which also provided energy for the polymerization. Okay, then we saw that the polymerization occurs only in one direction because of the presence of an enzyme, or the functioning of an enzyme takes place only in one direction. In one strand it is in a continuous way, but in the other strand it takes place in a discontinuous way. Okazaki fragments are joined by DNA ligase. Replication origin at particular region called origin of replication. And in eukaryotes, replication takes place at S phase of cell cycle, and failure in cell division will, after DNA replication, will result in a polyploidy. Okay, so this was all about replication, and this is a very important topic to be studied.